So there's a recent trend where parents are sending their children to places like Dunkin' Donuts and Chick-fil-A and having them order. Where does this come from? What's going on with this latest trend? Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Where does technology play in this whole realm? Welcome to Into the Desert, exploring the wilderness of ideas. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to support our channel, support us over on Patreon. There's a link in the description.
Well, I've seen a number of interesting stories recently and some videos on the effects of technology and questioning whether it's good, whether it's bad. Maybe it's making the younger generation better off because they don't drink as much. They don't have the much lower rates of teenage pregnancy. On the other hand, there's rising depression. This is something I didn't have to face as a parent, but I know you do with your young children. So what are your thoughts on this?
I have a mixed feeling. On one side of the fence, technology is useful, right? Technology helps me create emails and make sure that my spelling and punctuation is correct. And it allows me to connect and create these beautiful videos and to share my knowledge. It allows us, even though we're hours apart from each other, to talk as if we're in the same room and doing it in a cost-effective way that we don't have or we didn't have when I was a child. I mean, if I needed to call you, back in the 1980s, it would have costed us hundreds of dollars to have these kinds of conversations, and I wouldn't be able to see you, and I would have to bet you are actually at your phone, waiting for me to call to pick it up, because if you went to the store, I'd miss you altogether. So technology is great. Technology is wonderful, but technology is dangerous as well. It's that double-edged sword. And as a parent, the biggest struggle is, how do I teach my children to respect the technology in the same way you respect a car that you're driving? On top of that, there's this idea that, everywhere you go, something dangerous is out to get you, and we have to protect our children. So we tend to not let them go out to the park and not let them go out and play with their friends unless it's supervised and it's planned and it's scheduled, and we have to walk them everywhere because you can't cross the street by yourself, and you need that help. And Jonathan Haidt's book, which is where this new trend is coming from, is The Anxious Generation. He really talks about how we've crippled our children in their independence, and we have substituted independence and freedom and problem solving with dopamine addiction through our technology. And it's a struggle because, if I'm doing a nice long car ride, here, take your phone and, go have fun. I can drive and I don't have to worry about you crying and screaming and fighting in the back seat. But on the other hand, I'm not doing them any favors either. And
yeah, boredom is a great motivator. It forces you to be creative, to do things. I remember as a kid, I was an Air Force brat, so my parents were, my dad's getting stationed someplace different, or we were going to visit relatives. So I spent a lot of summers in cars traveling across the country. And, it's you have to be creative to try and make the best use of that time. Sometimes we bring books, sometimes we play games, license plate bingo, and just all sorts of different things we would do. And as a kid, my mother would, we'd have breakfast, my mother would kick me out of the house, and she said, don't come back until lunchtime. And so I was on my own, and you have to learn to do things when you're on your own, even if they're just wandering around your backyard. But I could go out onto the street, I could walk around. When I went to kindergarten, the idea of being dropped off was a luxury. I just suspected as kindergarten I'd have to walk to kindergarten, and we were in okay neighborhoods. It wasn't too bad, but you learn life skills by doing that. Even though you don't realize it at the time, you learn skills of how to just walk around your neighborhood. As adults, we kind of take that for granted, but you actually have to learn to create things, to make up games, to go find people and organize something. And those are skills that I think a lot of kids don't have because, they're just handed a phone and then, they start scrolling and next thing you know, it's several hours and they haven't really done anything.
Yeah. So I put restrictions on my kids' phones and I monitor how much they can spend on video games and their phones, but that only goes so far. Kids find ways to break the rules. That's just the nature of being kids, right? But even so, as much as I push my kids, as much as I make them go out, as much as my son has a great group of friends and they go out and they do Nerf wars and they play and he enjoys it. But he still loves his technology. I mean, he was talking to our pastor the other day and he was like, well, there's God and then there's my mom and then there's Fortnite. And the priest is like, no. Fortnite's got to be down here. And he's like, no, it's not the same. It's slightly lower. Yeah, no. But he does at least know how to go out and play and he knows how to have friends. My daughter, I was texting my mom one day and she was reading over my shoulders and looking at the text. She's like, wait, that's how you talk to another person? Like, yeah. What do you do with your friends? We just say hi or a weird face emoji. I'm like, that's not communicating. How do you have a real conversation? How do you know what someone's going through or, what they like and what they don't like? How do you agree on what you want to play? Face emojis and highs is not communication.
No.
Well, and the biggest thing, to kind of wrap this up is even today, AI requires that you have someone check it. And I think going forward, it'll still require that someone checks what it does. It requires that human critical thinking component to do it. And we're not teaching those skills to our children.
No.
The more we give them these really simple, easy to use technologies that solve a problem, the less our children learn how to solve that problem for themselves. And if they don't know how to solve it for themselves, how can they tell you if the computer's doing it right or wrong? Well, let us know what you think. Are you one of those parents who let your children have a phone and technology at 3 years old just to keep them quiet so that you can cook dinner? Are you one who absolutely no technology until they're 21 or whatever day? Let us know down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.